Depends who it is, doesn't it? New client.
What's the weirdest thing you've masturbated?
Yeah. Have you ever put anything up your bum? And if so, what? And for how long? There we go. She can have her own spot.
Right, if she wants to jump down, she jumps down, but let's go for it.
That's fine. Cool. Okay, so we got levels, we're recording and everything?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool, perfect. Right, we're all set up. We're here today in our 4-person setup at the Coolbox studio. We did like a little recording yesterday, which is why it's in a little 4-person setup as opposed to the 2. And we are here to very timely talk about a project we did, 2 weeks ago? Maybe 1? It was so recent.
Oh, that's a joke. I get it, right. Sorry.
It was actually back in...
It was before Christmas, wasn't it?
It was before Christmas we shot it, and I think it was January when we edited it. We are, of course, talking about these morale edits that myself and Cal did. It was...
That's me.
That's Cal. Cal's here, I'm Connor. And we were shooting something back in December for a local, I guess... clothing brand in Manchester.
Yeah.
And we got a bunch of footage that we weren't supposed to edit. We weren't an editor on it. We were just shooting. And we decided, screw it, let's do our own little edits and see how they turn out, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was born out of, obviously, like I was on the shoot and just because the footage looked so good that, yeah, you're right, we weren't meant to be doing the edit on that. But I wanted to.
Yeah.
Just for like our own internal use, just for our own benefit, just for a bit of fun, I guess, really.
I wasn't there on the day. Cal was there with Marc shooting in the woods. Here's some BTS footage of them shooting in the woods, running around. And we ended up getting a bunch of footage shot on an old DV tape, like a Panasonic or something like that. It was a Panasonic Handycam, I think.
It was a Canon.
Was it a Canon?
Yeah.
We'll cut to a picture of it here. This is what it is. And it was shot on old DV tape. We had to capture it. And essentially... my wanting to do my own edit was born out of the fact that I wanted to essentially take that shot on tape style and apply it to a full little reel, essentially. Mm-hmm. So that's where the initial spark, I guess, to do our own edit came from, at least for me. And I think yours was different because you were there on the day. And it was like, we've got all this cool footage and I want to...
Well, that was literally it. So basically... For context, the shoot was split over 2 locations. So we had a reservoir location at Dovestones, if anyone knows of it. Everyone seems to know it.
In December, yeah?
In December, yeah. So it's like pitch black, basically. And then the second location is in just a normal photography studio in the Northern Quarter. So quite contrasting looks, I'd say, from the, to amalgamate those 2 things together. But yeah, I was just more interested in the studio look, I think. Also because there's been so many people that have gone up to Dovestones and done similar things. I've kind of seen it before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I was just more interested in the studio look, I think. Also because there's been so many people that have gone up to Dovestones and done similar things. I've kind of seen it before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, that just seems to be a bit of a trend at the minute that, I don't know, maybe I'm over it. I don't know.
I think less interest and more pain in the arse, like you said about the DV tape. We've got, like I said, we had this Panasonic cam and essentially the client wanted that sort of, what's the term? I guess... what is it? When it's shot on purpose, but it looks like it lacks purpose. Incidental. They wanted like an incidental kind of footage look, like, oh, we've just pulled up the camera and we're getting some shots.
Well, it's a bit BTS-y, isn't it?
A little bit BTS-y. We kind of naturally assumed that through daisy chaining 4 different cables, we could probably connect the camera to a computer and then just capture it as normal. Turns out you can't do that. I think Marc figured that we'd have to buy 1 cable that goes in the camera, connect that to an old Firewire, connect that to an older Firewire, connect that to a USB-C, and I think that was the idea.
Which is definitely safe.
Which is definitely safe.
That's definitely a safe thing to do.
So instead of doing that, I just sourced a really old MacBook. I think it was like a 2012 MacBook Air or something like that, and that still had the ability to capture directly into the machine.
Yeah.
So we did that, and I saw the footage, and I was like, okay, I want to do something with this. Because of that, I saw the DV footage and I saw the main footage, and I was like, okay, I want to combine this and see if I can make an edit solely out of this forest stuff. I mean, it didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to. We ended up, at least with me, I ended up with kind of like a 3-act structure sort of thing, where I had the forest stuff. I could maybe get like 30 seconds in before even I was like, I'm getting a little bit bored of seeing shots of forest now. So what I ended up doing was separating it into like 3 distinct sections, which was the forest, out at the reservoir, and then the studio stuff. Whereas I think yours is much more studio focused, right?
Well, my initial plan, it didn't kind of materialize, but my initial plan was to do one edit that was solely studio and one edit that was solely like location, Dovestones, forest, whatever. But yeah, the stuff in the forest looked great. Like, I'm not slagging that off at all. Like, it looked great. But I just was more interested in working with the studio stuff, and I got really close to just doing that. It was like one, maybe like 40-second edit that was just studio stuff. But it was a bit one-dimensional because of the way what we were shooting was like basically one angle, more or less. So yeah, I went on the forest stuff a little bit. I think I put one clip, maybe 2 clips of the DV stuff in, but not much.
I was like racking my brain trying to remember if there's anything of the DV tape footage in there, and I think you're right.
There's only one or 2 clips, and it was because I was trying so hard not to look at yours because we kind of were editing them at the same time, like simultaneously.
Yeah.
So I was trying really hard not to look at yours, but you did finish yours first, and I did make the mistake of watching it before I'd finished mine.
I thought you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
You peaked.
Yeah.
That's rude.
Yeah.
So I think we both incorporated VFX in an interesting way.
Yes.
I remember a lot of mine, as with the footage I used, was based on DV tape and grit and like glitches, things not working basically, and making it look a bit more BTS-y, more damaged, I suppose. My use of VFX and After Effects and stuff like that was born more of, right, I need to get from A to B. How do I get there in like an interesting way? I wanted to get from like the forest into the Dovestone stuff. And the Dovestone stuff, I put it all in black and white. But it didn't feel natural to transition just like on a hard cut or something like that, where I go from sort of this muted color palette to just outright black and white. And what I ended up doing was like a combination of rotoscope, where I separated the model in the image from the background, had him digitally glitch, and had the background as well kind of glitch out, so it's all in black and white. So it's like, okay, that works. Now I can cut to the Dovestone stuff.
So there's the difference between an actual editor and someone who can edit but isn't an editor. I just went on effects, drag and drop.
Yeah,
which ones look cool and which ones don't.
You've got like a wider breadth, I guess, of different effects. You've got sort of, I guess, it's not an effect, but you've got the anamorphic lens view, the frame.
Well, I think that's worth saying anyway, is that I wanted, because we shot it in 4K, I put it in a kind of more of an anamorphic, like 2:1 type ratio for no particular reason other than it looks pretty cool, I think. Yeah. So that was the first thing. And then, yeah, because of the brief that we had from the client, even though this was like for our just internal use or for fun, whatever, still wanted to go down that line of just using some mad effects, really, for no particular reason. You might have thought more about them and like getting from A to B to C. I just went, oh, it might look cool there.
Yeah.
It looked pretty cool. Like there was some like wobbles and stretches of faces and glitches on faces and things like that worked really well. But I would never think of doing that. It's more like what you might see in a music video or something. Yeah. You know. How long do you reckon you spent on the whole edit?
I think in total from like cradle to grave, like 3 days, like on and off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like a full 3 days of work, but like, right, I'm going to work on this, put it down, come back, but over the course of 3 days, I suppose.
Because I reckon I spent 3/4 of a day on mine.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell.
Maybe
I
that
don't know.
reads. Yeah, maybe like side by side comparison. We'll put like a little timer.
Because Jess, who we work with, obviously did a who do you prefer? Which one do you prefer, A or B?
Yeah.
Being like me and you, which we didn't know she was going to do, by the way.
We both just got a notification saying who did it better or which edit's better or something like that. And we were like, we didn't think we were going to pause this as a versus.
A little bit more time on it.
Yeah. Which isn't like, it's not particularly a fair judgment call, I'd say.
Yeah. It was just interesting that obviously like we had the same footage that we worked with. Okay, I had more context to it because I was on the shoot. Whereas
true.
you saw it for the first time, like
and I suppose
in the edit, but
in a way that helps you get to what you want quicker because you can go. I remember like halfway through shooting the studio stuff, there was this really cool shot that I liked. So you don't have to sort of trim through. You can go straight to that.
But yeah, I think overall, just I really enjoyed working with that footage. I thought while we were shooting it, that I was excited to see what it would look like and how it would grade, especially. That's why I was more asked about the studio stuff because we got to like control the light a lot more. But yeah, no, I just felt it was like something before Christmas when we were a bit quieter that we don't get opportunity to do that often, obviously. So yeah, I just really enjoyed working with that footage.
And I think as well, when it comes to a project like this, when you've got a little bit more freedom time-wise, and I guess a little less pressure with having to deliver directly to a client, you can go,
sure,
okay, how would I make this if I were going to deliver to this brief without heavy oversight, without notes, without changes, stuff like that. And seeing how that comes out, because obviously yours came out very different to mine, but that was both based on, right, let's take a brief we're not really working towards and adapt it in a way that makes it our own.
And our final thing I'd say as well is that like this type of project, you just have more creative freedom anyway because of the nature of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you are basically got a license to try more things that might push the boundaries a little bit more.
Yeah. And also, whoever put the label on the dark roast in the kitchen, the Asda dark roast, no one cares, man. I'm not drinking your dark roast.
No.
Anyway, see you later. Clap the board. Clap it. We didn't do a clap sync at the start. We're doing an end clap sync.
Dog pod.